Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm one of your hosts, Mark,
And I'm one of your hosts, Astro.
and today we're talking about the movie Walk With Me as part of, I'm going to call it Pride Week, because it's during Pride Month, right? But we're going to try to release a video every day this week about a different community in the LGBTQ community. So that's what we're doing for Pride Month.
We're gonna try our hardest.
We are. This is a big undertaking because
It is
we're not known for consistency, but it's okay.
not, and what we should have done was thought of this before and then recorded before, and then we had the videos ready now. But you know what? We live and we learn.
Next year, hopefully we'll remember in
We're
May.
gonna remember.
Exactly. Period. That is the goal. But we're gonna go in letter order in the acronym. LGBTQIA+. So our first movie is about lesbians, and I realized like halfway through watching this movie that the main character is actually bi, but they're in a lesbian relationship, so it counts. And also the love interest is a lesbian, so it works.
Yeah, it works. It's working. So
Yeah. So to start off, I'm actually gonna give a brief synopsis because I'd never heard of this movie before, and I don't know how popular it is. I believe it released back in 2020, which surprised me. 2020, 2021, one of those 2 years. Walk With Me follows a recently divorced wife who becomes a single mother, and she has to navigate the challenges that come with it, being a divorcee and a single mother in the city. And she finds love in comfort in a place that she didn't know was possible. Spoiler alert, she finds it in a woman. And she now has to navigate all of that I just said, plus she has to navigate finding out this new facet of her life. And the movie just follows her journey in that. And that's pretty much the movie. And if you haven't seen it, I would stop here if you want to see it, because here on out it's going to be very spoiler heavy. But if you do stop because you want to go see it, after you watch it, just like come back. Just come back, please.
yeah, come back and join us in loving this movie because I actually really did enjoy it.
Is there notes on the movie?
Yeah, I have notes on the movie. That's why I was looking around. I was like, fuck, I forgot I had notes on the movie.
With the setup out of the way, I just want to ask your initial thoughts on this film.
Well, okay. So I had a couple initial thoughts. One, film.
What'd you say?
I was like, this was filmed with B-roll. This was filmed on somebody's iPad. Like,
You think so?
yeah. I mean,
I think it was filmed with
camera.
in my opinion, it looks like it was filmed on a camera that's meant for photography.
Yeah, that's the best way. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
And the person, whoever was filming it, had shaky hands. They kept shaking that screen, and it actually did distract me sometimes. I'm just like, hey, yo, just put it on a dock. At this point,
actually, I'm gonna look up the budget for this.
At this point, babes, just put it on a dock. Do something to steady your hands. But my initial first thought was, first of all, how it was filmed. Second of all, I was like, especially when it came to the opening sequence, I kind of already felt like their marriage was over. So I'm kind of glad they kind of just did not mince any words with it. It was shown without ever being said. And how dismissive he was of her, and how kind of like it looked like she was kind of like, I don't want to say suffering, but kind of like realizing that she still loves this man, but she doesn't know how he feels about her because he was actually being kind of mean. Another initial thought about the movie was that I put not important in parentheses, but her husband is not attractive. Now, is that rude? Yes. But
He's what?
He's not attractive. Anyway, is that rude?
I think he is, low-key.
No. Well, of course you would. I don't.
What are you supposed to be?
Anyway, I didn't find him attractive. I know someone out there would, but I didn't find him attractive. I also got the sense that obviously they love their daughter. She loved being married to him. It was just, I think it was time for her to move on. So those were my initial thoughts, how it was filmed, how they were, the acting in the beginning when it came to really showing how the relationship was coming to an end, basically, was really good. Again, showing us without telling us, which I really enjoy when watching a movie. Now, when I first saw the lady, it was when she was showing her the house or the apartment that she wanted to buy, the place that she wanted to buy in New York. I was like, oh, that's the lady she's gonna fall in love with, isn't it? That's her love interest right there. She cute.
Yeah, I knew it as soon. Well, okay, when they ran into each other again at the house, I knew that there was gonna be love interest.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, okay, it's a random lady, and then I was like, oh no, okay, it's her. Cute, cute.
Nah, I clocked it the first time they came that she showed her that house. I was like, that's a love interest right there. And I
Yeah.
think I clocked it because it just I don't know something about them together. It looks so I don't know. I imagined it in my head. So I was like, yeah, that's her love interest. And if it's not, I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to the editor, director, and writer of this. I think her name is Isabel something. I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to Miss Ma'am and say, now them two should have been together. I don't know why you put her with this other random lady, but this lady right here, they needed to be together.
I will say, I think it's an indie film. I'm actually like 99% sure it is. It released at a film festival back in 2021. So I can't find a budget on it, but I imagine it's not too high.
It's
And
fair. The
for
thing
an
is,
indie film, it was really good.
good. It was still pretty good. Like I'm like, regardless of the budget or anything else like that, you got a group of friends together, and they did not do a bad job.
Right.
They did not a bad job in that movie.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of her first films because of the camera that they probably used.
Yeah,
It didn't look like it was meant for film. It looked like it was meant for photography. I've used cameras like that. I usually use Canon cameras, so I don't remember the kind that I used to use, but I do remember it used to look like that, the way it looks. But also, I don't mind it. I put it in my review on Letterboxd. It feels like I'm there with them because it's not like this hyper good film, like cinematic quality. It feels like real. It feels like someone's actually there, like with them, like I'm a
yeah.
third person along the way with them.
hmm
And that, like, because the quality wasn't bad, it just wasn't cinema
It
level
wasn't.
quality.
It wasn't what I. It's not that I was expecting cinema level quality, but it wasn't what I was used to when I watched like movies. I was like,
Yeah,
this looks like something I could do. It
yeah.
felt so. That's what I liked about it though. It felt like something that I could literally just do.
Hmm.
And I like movies that make me feel like, oh, we just get a group of friends, maybe a bit of a budget. We can
Right.
kind of make things move and shake. It's kind of like almost awe inspiring.
I wouldn't be surprised if this movie $5,000 max, 10,000 max.
Max, if even that, because then you do have to pay the actors.
Yeah, even if they do it for free, pay for logistics, food, accommodations,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
All that.
You gotta pay for equipment if you're gonna rent it or buy it.
What were your impressions when you watched it?
My first impressions, I first of all, I didn't know we were gonna like see the divorce process happen. So I'm happy we did, even if it wasn't like drawn out. I'm happy it wasn't like a third of the movie, but I'm happy we saw something.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy that they kept that short. Like it
Yeah,
was to the point. I was like, thank God. Like
it was perfect though. I feel like they did it in such a way where it only took up like 10 minutes, but it they did enough to show you kind of why she wanted to leave.
yes, like I said, like they did a lot of telling you without telling you.
Yes, I love it, and they did it in a very efficient manner, and it was conveyed very easily to me. Like, okay, this is like why even the opening scene when they're getting ready to wherever they're going to go, and like he leaves without giving her a kiss goodbye. Like that was like that just spoke volumes, and it was I loved it.
Telling you without telling you, and the way she was fixing his thing and how he was looking at her, like he was kind of annoyed that she was doing that for
Hmm.
him. It was like, dang, dude, she's just trying to help. She's trying to be a wife. Why are you doing all that? And
Yeah,
then the scene, was that after it or when they went to the diner with their daughter
yeah, it
and
was like right after it.
she asked if he wanted some water. He was like, or whatever he wanted, and he was just like, it's what I always have. And she was like, okay.
Yes, she was like she had like the creamer, and she like cream. And he was like, "That's how I always take it." And I literally paused it and added my commentary. I was like, "She is just trying to help you out.
No, for
Like,
real.
she's just trying to get your coffee right. Like you can a simple yes. You couldn't do that.
No, because he had to make it known that she was annoying him. And then her defeated response was something along the lines of, okay, I just thought you would like something different today.
No, but even when this is also an impression I got when they go when she goes to her new apartment to like scope it out right before she buys it. When the realtor asks how your husband's gonna like the apartment or whatever, and she responds with, "No, it's just for me and my daughter." I was like she's like fully ready to move out, and she's like actually like about to move out, and I was wondering how I was literally talking to my screen like, how are we gonna tell this man? Because he doesn't know yet, does he? How are we gonna tell him?
Bro, cause like, first of all, when she got the apartment, I was like, what's she finna do? And then I was like, oh, does her husband not move away? Girl, you just gonna tell him, I got a place and I'm moving? And that's exactly what she did. She was like, oh, I got a place.
Literally. No, she was like, I'm leaving you. I was like, damn.
I was like, and the thing is, right, I don't think her husband didn't love her.
believe that he loved her. I believe
I
that.
think her husband was just, I don't know, maybe bored and tired of the monotony of it all or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
His perspective is not really talked about because he's not the focal point of the movie. But I
Mhm.
can kind of infer that he was kind of bored with her, annoyed with her, and stuff of that nature or whatever. But
Yeah. Because later in the film, it's like a side comment, but it mentioned like they've been together since they were like teenagers. So
yeah, it's one of those situations where you grew up with this person, you had a kid with this person, you decided to marry with this person, and then it's like what more of this relationship do we have to give? Like there's nothing exciting going on between us. There's nothing to keep the relationship, I guess, for him more fresh. And that doesn't mean he didn't love her any less. It was just the fact that his maybe his frustration or maybe his the mundaneness of it all got to him and he started lashing out in ways that was just like very not constructive for the both of them because I think a lot of things would have been solved how he said something to her, had he communicated something to her, had he said, look, XYZ, this is why I'm feeling this way. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, use his words, but instead he just decided to sit in his annoyance of her and get more annoyed and start lashing out on her in ways that made her feel like he didn't love her anymore. Like he wasn't into her no more. And when you've been with someone for so long like that, for a lot of people, it if you're not a lot of people want to experiment and experience other things, and that's fine and everything else like that. But some people realize that way too late. Some people realize that when they're a kid or two in, and they're already married, they're already settled down with the house. They put the down payment on their dream home in the middle of wherever they are, and they're just realizing, wow, I don't want this no more. And
mhm.
it's one of those it's a heartbreaking thing because it's just like for both parties involved. Obviously for him when she told him, he looked genuinely crushed. He really
Yeah, he
did.
was probably blindsided by it too.
He was very blindsided by it because he probably wasn't expecting her to leave at any point in time. But it's like, bro, what did you expect her to do? Like, you expect her to continue with your lashing out and your annoyance of her? Did you expect her to continue with putting up with your lack of empathy? Not empathy, well, empathy, but also intimacy towards her with her. She's trying, and you're not. So clearly, there's
I think
something
it
going.
was a lot of a disconnect. Like they were not
Yeah,
in sync anymore.
yeah,
They probably wanted different things, and
mhm,
also it showed him like working a lot. I believe he was like kind of got consumed in that. I kind of got that impression. And she's not like his number one priority, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but it's something that needs to be talked about.
yeah,
And I understand that they have a house, they have a kid, so it's like yeah, it's a lot. But you have to like talk through that, and they didn't do that. And also, she mentioned that she didn't like the person that she was becoming around him, and
yeah,
that could be fair because you are who you hang out with, and I don't think he's a bad person. I just think like maybe she doesn't like what she's becoming, and that's not like it's not being like oh he's a villain or she's a villain. It's just like they're when you get together, your paths are like aligned, right? You're not on the same path, but they're like parallel, and then somewhere along the road they like went different directions and they never
yeah,
acknowledged that, and that is like the coffin of the relationship.
yeah. The
And then I remember when she goes to the wine shop, I called it a vineyard in my notes. When she goes to get the wine and they run into the realtor again,
mhm.
and then she just comes over. I was like, so you like her? Because why are you going to a house again?
That too, I was like, "Ooh, I knew it, I knew it." Mhm.
Yes, and they go over to her house and kind of talk, and then this is where, oh my god, wait, what's Amber? I made it a note to remember their names because I'm usually so bad with names, but the main character's name is Amber, which I love that name. When Amber and Logan, that's the love interest name, when they're talking, and Logan asks Amber, and she's like, "What do you like do for fun, or like for like a hobby, whatever, whatever." And Amber, like, she takes like a good like while to like think and she's like fermenting the question, and she eventually responds with, "I don't know how to answer that question." I'm like, so that could also be another reason why she felt like she had to move on because she doesn't feel like she's her own person anymore.
Yeah, it's her. I think one of her answers was like, "Well, I'm a mom. I work a lot. I was married and stuff like that." I'm like, "Well, that's all the responsibilities that you have. We're talking
Mhm.
about how what you do personally as an individual." And a
Right.
lot of the times, it's very indicative to how mothers a lot of times lose themselves in motherhood. And I'm not a mom, so I can't really speak on it. But from what I've been hearing from other mothers, it sometimes is a soul crushing thing when somebody does ask that question and they can no longer answer it because their whole lives are consumed by their children. They have to, because you have to put down everything and take care of your child. You have to feed it. You have to bathe. You have to take care of it. So her losing herself within her motherhood, but not only her motherhood, her marriage, it was very indicative to how a woman's role is in a relationship because she probably did pretty much everything in terms of planning, like even as something as small as an outfit to something as big as an event maybe they had together or whatever. Which is not shown in the movie, but I can only infer by her response from Logan when she asked her hobbies. And then you figure out that she can draw.
Yeah, she
I'm,
can really draw. When she first drew on the napkin, I was like, "Girl, on a
I'm like,
napkin?"
girl, and she literally not lost it, but obviously she didn't lose it, but she literally, it's like she almost forgot that she could do that.
I don't really know what she does for a living because we go to her workplace a few times, and I forget her boss's name. I'm so upset. I forget her name.
I really liked her boss.
I like it. I like her too. They're like it was it's funny because they're friends, but they're also she also her boss. Um,
She took the trope of all what all black women do in movies when they're kind of like the voice of reason or the inspirational voice of reason. That happens in a lot of movies where they're kind of like, I don't want to say they're driving the plot forward, but they're more so like a supporting hand
mm,
within a film or something like that.
yeah, they're like the counterbalance, like
Yeah.
the anchor. They're the anchor.
Anchor, that's it. Where they're
Yes.
just like they're giving you the advice, giving you what to do, and they're inspiring you in order to do that advice and do that thing that you're supposed to do. Now, obviously it's not all roses and everything being an anchor, but it
Right.
has, like in this movie. I feel like it wasn't overused. It was more like she was chatting with a friend half the time rather than someone who was just there for the anchor of it all.
Yeah, the kind of relationship they have, I feel like they were friends before she became her boss, and
Yeah,
the way the relationship, it feels so unprofessional. Like they had to have been friends before,
yeah.
like the work life balance it came into it. Like they had to have because there's no way that like somebody who's your boss and then becomes your friend is even talking to you like that.
Cause she over here like, give me the deets. Who are they?
Like okay, yeah, y'all were friends before. Y'all were friends in high school. That's what it's giving.
You know,
But when the boss, I'm so sad I cannot remember her name. When she found out that she got a divorce, because first of all, showing up with the divorce papers at somebody's work, how would you do that?
nasty work because she was trying to keep it a secret. She over here talking about how your weekend. The boss asking how your weekend was. She was like, "Oh, uneventful." And then that lawyer showed up being like, "You've been served papers for
Actually,
divorce."
what do you mean you've been
Nasty work. Nasty freaking work.
Soul? That's her name. And I remember I loved that name.
You know what? Yeah. So that's a pretty name. I like
It is a
that.
pretty name, SOL. But yeah, that was nasty. I was like, now that was unprofessional because even if you're gonna go to somebody's work, I feel like you should at least like pull them aside or something. I don't know. Here's your
No,
divorce
for
papers.
real.
Like, bro, yeah. Anyway, moving forward, after she had served her papers and stuff, she moved out. She's furnishing her new apartment, and then her and Logan are getting closer. They're talking, and later. Back in the workplace, what's her name? Amber is texting Logan a lot, and Soul's like, "Who is it? Who is it?" And then this is like before they like do anything, right? So she's like, "Oh, it's just a friend," and so I was like, get the love eyes, something like that.
It's like, you're not smiling like that for a friend. Don't.
Well, this is before they get together, but like I could tell like the way they're hanging out, like this is more than friends. Like y'all like each other. And then at the end of like the montage of them hanging out, right when they're walking back and they give each other the hug, and like they pulled away, but they didn't pull it all the way, so their faces are still like this close to each other. And Logan was like, "I really want to kiss you right now." I remember I paused. I was like, "Logan, why would you say that? That's so bold."
My, I'm my crib was like, girl, what? I'm like, I'm sorry. It was just like bold. Like, okay,
Right,
girl.
right. And then Amber was like,
I wanted it to happen too. I was like,
"What'd you say?"
I said I wanted it to happen too. I was like, yes, yes, you do. I know you do.
I felt like they were gonna kiss, but then I was like, Amber doesn't even like she didn't even like say anything about that. So I think that Amber was like
taken aback. She was
Yeah,
like,
she's saying that, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not like whatever." And then they walk off, and then the next day Amber is texting Logan, and she's like, "I'm sorry," and Logan's like, "No, I was out of line." And then she was like, "No, you weren't. I like you a lot." And then I was like, "Oh my god, you're falling in love. You're
I was
falling in
like,
love."
it's happening.
I know.
And
I
I
was
was
like,
like, I like it didn't drag out because normally, so I read a lot of books. Okay, I read a lot of books. I haven't read a lot of books this year, but I've read a lot of books, and normally they drag out the part of them at least admitting they had some sort of feelings toward each other. I
mhm,
like that they didn't drag that part out because in a regular degular romance whatever, they would have had like drawn out that scene, and I'm glad it was straight to the point. I think romances should do that because clearly she had something towards her and she knew she did. She just didn't know how she would feel about being with a woman. And
yeah,
that's literally at one of the cores of the movie, how Amber feels about stepping into that relationship with a woman, even though it's like it's a relationship, girl. Like you don't got to think about nothing different.
yeah. I will say, I feel like this doesn't happen often either in romance. I would like to see a romance where it's gonna sound so counterintuitive, but I want to see one where they don't get together until like the third act, and the entire movie,
So burn.
huh? Yes, but I want a queer slow burn, and that makes more sense to me because imagine a person who, like, kind of like in Amber's situation, is like questioning or whatever, whatever, right? And the entire movie is them trying to figure out how to one admit the feelings to themselves, then admit it to the person they like, then to their friends, family, going through the fear of that, kind of like what happened in this film, but just like that, more drawn out. So it's like
Yeah, so
more
but they're not together yet. Whereas with Amber, it was like she was already with Logan, and
yes,
she was just figuring it out with Logan rather than her figuring it
yes,
out by herself and then getting with Logan. So that's what
because
you want.
I feel like
Yeah.
both things happen in real life. And I want to see like the one I just said because you don't see that, and that'd be really cool to see when that scene after their first little montage happens. And that I for you know what, this is really funny. I forget how they get together.
They. Oh shit. Wait, give me a second. Give me a second.
I think they're at Amber's place, and I think they were just like talking or something. And I think
Wait. Yeah. Didn't Amber have some chocolate and she was feeding it to her?
yes, yes, yes. So they had like chocolate or something, and then she was feeding it, and then they like kissed, and I was like, okay, wow. First of all, I was like, okay, so this is when they get together because there is no reason to blindfold somebody unless you're trying to kiss them or something.
Yeah, I think she. So I think at first she did want her to taste the chocolate, but then it was just, attraction was just too much, girl. It's like,
Right.
okay, Amber, bold I see, bold I. They're both very bold, which is why back to the conversation they were having at like what was it? It was when they were having a conversation and Amber was like, "No, I wanted to kiss you." I was actually very surprised that they had the conversation because again, I'm so used to romance, like having them delete the message and never
I
sending
thought
it.
she was gonna delete the message.
I thought she was gonna do that, but no, this girl's
I was
bold,
so
and
shocked.
like I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, she's actually talking, which lets me know that she doesn't have a lack of communication issue. I'm blaming the husband about the divorce. It's his fault. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And
but if
then
he never her, she would have never figured out that she like women. So I'm happy. He not.
yeah, so I like that we get to see Emily and Logan. Like they get to be pretty close, and I love it. It's cute. Like Emily like trusts her, and I feel like she sees her as like part of like the unit,
Yeah.
and I like that a lot. And then we go to Emily's piano recital thing at the school, and this was a point in the movie where I think I had a bit of a disagreement because after the recital and Emily does her thing, all the parents they're all mingling and they're talking as parents do, and Logan's there and Ethan's there. Ethan, the ex-husband's there. So they're having their post recital talks and chit chat, and I think there's like a group of like three or four, and I think they're like Amber's friends or people that she knows, and they're like, "Oh, we're going out."
I think that there are the other parents that she knows from the program that her daughter's in.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. And she was like, "I'm going out. We're going to go out. Do you want to come with?" And and then she was like, it would just be me. It wouldn't be Ethan." And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's fine." And she doesn't invite Logan, and also she describes Logan as a friend to Ethan. And Logan gets very upset about that, and she's like, "Oh, I should just leave." Here's my thing: I disagree with Logan in this instance for the simple fact that I feel like Logan has always like she strikes as a person who has like known who she is, and she's like, fuck anyone who doesn't like me because of who I am. I'm not gonna let them dictate my life, right? She seems very concrete and set in her identity, and she feels very secure. Whereas Amber, this is a new chapter in her life, and she's not. She's like navigating this for the first time. So like to expect her to be able to like be forward and out with like, yes, she's a forward person, but she's not that forward. Like it takes time.
Yeah.
And I feel like Logan wasn't very understanding about that, and it struck me as weird because I feel like she's a queer person at heart. I feel like she has to understand that it takes time, especially when you're in a relationship with someone who's not out yet.
Yeah.
It takes time before they're ready to disclose that with their friends and family, even just people. You know.
Especially this is very, very, at least from what I can see from the movie, this is very new to Amber.
Mm-hmm.
So I I understand. Continue. I'm gonna say something else after you're done.
No, yeah, I just didn't agree with that, and Logan being as upset as she was
Yeah.
because and even when Amber went to apologize, she's like, "Oh yeah, I was an asshole." I'm like, "I don't think you were. I don't think you were." I feel like she was not in the wrong, like because again, you can't expect her to just be out with it with everything. Not this soon. It takes time.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I agree with the sentiment that Logan should not expect Amber to really be out like that, especially since she's figuring out her identity first of all, and who she is, especially after her divorce. Because
Mhm,
her divorce is still like fresh. It's still fresh on her mind. Like it
right.
just happened. Like, and she's realizing that she is attracted to women, and she wants a woman as her romantic partner. She has a woman as a romantic partner. But I do sympathize with how Logan felt, because while
Yes.
I agree that Amber shouldn't be kind of forced to be out and be about with Logan, I also agree that that kind of makes Logan feel like she's, because you know the scene with her mom and everything else like that, it kind of makes her feel like she's like not important and invisible, and that is an insecurity that she has to pretty much work on within herself. But I do kind of sympathize with her on how it makes her feel. It might not be, you know, it might not be like Amber should come out or nothing like that. She shouldn't just say flat out, right, oh, this is my girlfriend. You would
Mhm.
want someone to say that. And that's what pretty much probably what Logan expected. But if she wanted someone to do that, she should have went with a lesbian that is more out and about than Amber is. Because Amber is, I think, bi, right?
Yeah, she never says what she is, but
Yeah,
she when she's talking to Soul later in the film, she's like, "I'm not a lesbian. I still like men." So she's
yeah,
from my interpretation, she's bi. But on what you said, I will also say like two things. Two things. There are 2 points that I had when I was watching this movie. One of them
mhm,
was like you said, I can understand where Logan was coming from because even
yeah,
outside of her relationship with her mother, just on like on a wider like standpoint, like as a person, like to feel like you have to be hidden away is a
yeah,
really awful feeling. To feel like you
yeah,
can't even be like out with somebody like as a person. It sucks. It sucks. It's like, okay, so what about me needs to be hidden? Why do I as a person need to be hidden away and not even like being acknowledged as a person? And it hurts every single occurrence of it. It just builds up on the last one. So I understand that feeling because it sucks. It sucks. And to a degree, I feel like you have to expect that from a questioning person or a person who's in the closet. But also to a degree, like you have to, as a questioning person, you have to realize what I'm doing is hurting this person. You don't necessarily have to come
yeah.
out, but you have to acknowledge their existence. Like I feel like that's all Logan wants, also. And then
You know, grab her hand and be like, "Hey, this is Logan." You didn't even
right,
have to say, "My friend." You could say, "This is Logan."
exactly. And the second point I had, and what is because when Amber goes to apologize, Amber was like, I can't. She like I can't like come out to these people, and Logan was like, I'm not expecting you to do that. She was like, you wouldn't even treat a friend that way, and that hurt. I was like, damn.
That's true. That's true. That's where I was gonna come in at. I was like, yeah, Logan wasn't even expecting her to be like, "This is my girlfriend." Hey, she was more so expecting her to be like, "This is Logan. Hello, this is a person now in my life." I could sympathize with Logan because of her mother and and her upbringing. Empathize, I should say, because of her mother and her upbringing, the fact that she has to be hidden away, and like you said, that feeling is not a fun feeling to have,
Hmm.
because it does take a toll on your relationships, because whatever action someone does that feels like they're hiding you is going to feel like they're triggering you tenfold. And in a
Right.
way, it's like Amber wasn't. I don't think she was trying to hide her, obviously, but she was trying to hide the fact that she was in a relationship with her that was more
Yeah.
than friend. That's what she was trying to hide, not her in general, not her herself, but in the relationship in and of itself, which in turn made her hide her.
Well, again, I was like thinking, okay, in that situation, right? I have a bunch of peers, and I'm like with a friend who I'm
Hmm.
close to. If it was like a friend group hanging out thing, I'd be like, can they come with? Because like it's just awkward to make plans with people when you're actively with another friend and you just like exclude them completely. You don't even acknowledge that they're there.
Logan's also there to see Emily because they do bond. Emily and Logan do bond.
Yeah.
So it's not just that she's there to support Amber. She's there to support Emily too. It's like she's part of the family, but not really part of the family. And I'm guessing that's what her mother made her feel like. How she's part of the family. At least when probably when she was with her, she was like she's part of the family. She's just
Right.
not a part of the family. And then when she left, it was just like, well, now I don't have a daughter. Like, bro, we're gonna get to that mother in a second because I got a few choice words to stay with her. I'm gonna say them now. Fuck her.
When they go to the subway station and they're talking, I was like, okay, they're gonna be cute. And then she turns and she's like, "Mother." I was like, no way, no. And then the
Oh,
mother fully gaslights her child and be like, no, you have me confused, da da da. And then Logan like storms out. She's like, I can't go on that train. I can't go on that train. I understand that. That was crazy. Because
that
what
was
do you mean you're in New York? You don't even tell your daughter that you're in
no.
town. And then when they see you, you're gonna pretend like you don't know them.
That broke my heart. I was like, because the way she was like, I couldn't get on that train. She couldn't do it. She can't do it. And then her mother just going about her life like her daughter did not just recognize her. That would have been that's a new type of hurt that I can't even describe. I think I would
I
have pushed too
know.
much into tracks. That coming train would have had her splattered. I'm so sorry. I'd be like, ooh. Emma. Nah. But like it was a scene that at least showcased why Logan felt the way she did about Amber. I don't know if that scene happened before or after what Amber did the first time, but regardless of what order it happened, it kind of shed a lot of light on how Logan is when it comes to people doing that to her. It's you know it's your own like your
Right.
own mom just basically just said I don't know who you are. I know nothing. I see nothing. I hear nothing. And went about her life like she probably doesn't even know the man that she's with. It seemed like her mother was there with a boyfriend. So probably didn't even know who that man was, you know?
And then this part of the film pissed me off. Too. This is like the most. This part, these next two parts, I think you're gonna know what I'm talking about in a second. They pissed me off. So Amber takes Logan to meet her parents, and as friends, right? So she's like, "Oh, this is Logan. We're close friends. Let's go out to dinner or brunch or whatever." And they go eat, and then Logan is like, "Okay, I have to leave. I have work. I gotta go." And then Amber's like, "Okay, I'll walk you out." And they
Oh,
go.
Logan is going on tour by at this point,
Yeah,
and she asked Amber to go with her, and Amber said no, so she's leaving to go prepare for her tour. That's
yeah.
what's happening.
Also, I just realized in this moment, Logan has two jobs. She's a realtor and
Yeah,
she does. I was wondering how she was supporting herself in that apartment by herself, being an artist.
I think no, I think isn't she like she's subletting?
What?
So I think it's called subletting. No, so like she and the apartment that she stays in, it's not really her apartment. It's someone
Oh,
else's
yeah.
that they allow a person to stay in for a certain amount of time before they come back. So she had to even move out prior to her going on this tour. So it's not
Yes.
like she still had to pay rent because you still do have to pay rent. But yeah, she's a realtor and she's subletting and she's I think that's what it's called. And she's also a recording artist. Like she's a musician.
Yeah, I just realized that in this recording, I'm like, wait. I was wondering how she was supporting herself as an artist, and I was like, oh wait. She's also a realtor, so she's probably using the realtor money to support her artist career and live, which is smart. But yeah, so she was like leaving, and I remember they stop in the hallway and they're like doing the whole like kiss goodbye and being flirtatious. And I remember thinking, y'all haven't gone far enough. Like y'all need to like go into a little crevice, go outside, like y'all are literally around the corner from the parents. You have not gone far enough. If you're
Yeah,
trying to keep this a secret,
I was like, please don't walk in, please don't walk in, please don't walk in. And then I saw that
I
mother still was
knew, I knew she was gonna walk in. I knew she was gonna walk in. I
like,
knew it. And then lo and behold, the mom walks by and she's like, "What is this?" And I remember thinking, I was like, "Okay, wait." I paused. I was like, "Wait." The mother doesn't seem angry. She seems confused. Okay, we could recover from this. It's recoverable.
Sweet summer. As soon as she said that, I was like, oh, she hates them. She does not like that.
And then the mother. I know. Logan storms off. Amber follows, and then I was like, I remember thinking, if I was Logan, I would leave. If I was Amber, I would leave.
Me too. Regardless, either one of them, I'm leaving.
We're leaving.
If I remember correctly, after Logan and Amber leave the brunch spot, Logan is mad at Amber because she didn't tell her that. Well, I think I don't know if she was misconstrued in thinking that her parents knew that they were together or something like that.
No,
I'm not.
she knew she didn't know. I think she was mad that she didn't really stand up for her.
Yes, I think that was it. And then she goes back to the apartment and she's with Amber. They're sleeping in the bed and she tells her she loves her and something like that. But I remember there are two conversations that happen. There's a conversation that happens between Amber, her parents, and her husband. And then there was another conversation. Yeah. And then the conversation that you're talking about, I think,
Oh.
Park, right? With Emily's there. I mean, yeah, Emily's there. And it was the mother and her sitting at a park bench. Is that the one?
Yes. So what I believe happens is that happens at the cafe. They leave, and then the next time they talk is at Ethan's place. I remember I paused it. I didn't let the full scene go because when she walked into her old house with Ethan there, and I saw the parents there. I was like, I paused it, and I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way. The first thing you do is call her ex-husband and vent her shit. There's no way that's what you're doing. And I went on a tangent for like 5 minutes yelling at my screen, and then I pressed play, and that's not what it was. I was like, I'm jumping to conclusions. But like that's what everyone was thinking too. We all thought the same thing.
I thought the same thing. I was like, not a lesbian intervention. Girl, what is this, AA? I'm so confused. I was like, this is like a roundtable discussion. And you know what? There's a lot of things I loved about this scene, though.
This is my favorite scene in the entire movie.
The first thing I love about the scene is the fact that she told her parents basically to shut the fuck up and leave. And they did. They just left. But the one thing I did like about it is Ethan was getting angry. He got angry at certain points. But
then the parents stepped in.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's when she told them to leave, basically. Like, the parents said basically to him, like, you don't talk to her like that. And I was like, yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do. And then she told her parents just basically to leave. Not to shut the fuck up, but she told them basically to leave. And when Ethan and her finally had that heart-to-heart, I was like, I thought it was going to be more explosive. It was actually very calm. And that surprised me again. Because
they talk about how much they loved each other. It was a genuine love, and I like that it wasn't explosive. It was very sad. It was very sad.
Very like a final goodbye.
She was very sad that because basically Ethan got a job offer. He has to go out of state for 2 years, and so Emily has to stay with Amber full time for basically 2 years. And she was like, she can't be without a dad. She needs her dad. She loves you. And then he was like, I know, but I just couldn't say no. I already accepted it. And they're very sad. They were crying at the end. But what I also like about it is after the parents leave and they're talking, Amber is on the left side of the screen near the staircase, and Ethan is on the right side of the screen near the fireplace. And what they do is they don't have them in the same shot until the end. So they have one shot of Amber and one of Ethan, and they alternate between the two of them. And they have it so that they're at the very, very left of the shot. So when they're on each character, they feel so far apart. But at the end of the conversation, when they're talking, they go to the wide shot and at both of them in the same shot, and they're close, and you can see how much closer they are at the end. And I love how you can see them getting closer and closer as the conversation goes on, and it was beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah, that's great cinematography. That's how you do cinematography. You also convey the emotions or whatever is in the scene. You're not just doing it for pretty shots. You're doing it to tell you something without telling you something, which I wish more movies would do nowadays. Tell me the thing without telling me the thing. I can infer in the scene. I know some of these people can't, but I can infer. Okay. Anyway, that's a good thing that you pointed out. Mind you, I'm not a film nerd, but it was something about that scene that probably did catch my eye. I just didn't know how to put it into words because I'm not a nerd, a film nerd. I'm a nerd in a different aspect. But another thing I really like about the scene is that they didn't yell at each other. Like, at first he yelled. At first he was mad. Because he was mad. He was just like, I know about you and Logan, da-da-da, really, a woman or whatever. But then that that feeling, that shame that he was trying to put on her, it kind of like it settled. It kind of was just like, there's no reason why I should, first of all, feel ashamed, and second of all, there's no reason why you should be angry because first of all, we're divorced, but second of all, like I think you said this in the beginning when she was like, I just felt like I didn't like who I was becoming with you. And as much as I still do love you, I love you. I love being married to you. She realized it wasn't a good relationship for, first of all, either of them, because either of them wasn't doing what the other needed at all. And this is like the boldness that Amber exhibits throughout the entire film. Her confronting Logan the first time. It's just like, it's such a breath of fresh air to see a romance not drag out a scene and not be explosive rather than just calm. And you would think it wouldn't make for good cinema if someone is just calm or someone is just doing things off bat, but I didn't even miss what old romance tropes would do. I was like, this is fresh. It feels fresh to the eyes. It feels fresh to the emotions. And I watch a lot of romances, but it feels fresh to the eyes and emotions. There was no miscommunication arc. I freaking hate those. There's none of that.
In any format, in any type of genre, when something is bound on miscommunication, because I'm always near the TV, and if y'all just talked for 10 freaking seconds, there would be no conflict.
There would be no conversation. Bro, when I tell you, I watched this, side tangent, I watched a scene like that in anime where it was just a miscommunication. I'm like, if you just said 5 words, if you just said, none of this would happen. This is such an unnecessary scene to happen. I'm like, what the heck? But yeah, I don't like miscommunication.
So far off. I played the Mortal Kombat 1 story, and for anyone saying it's a Mortal Kombat game, why are you focusing on the story? If a game has a story mode, it better be good, okay? Okay, I'm expecting cinema when I'm playing a story mode.
You know what? I'm expecting to play a little movie. I don't know about y'all. Y'all not playing movies?
I play a movie. I'm playing a movie, okay? If your game, this is so far off, I don't care. If your game has a story mode, you're making a movie that I can play, okay? But in that story mode, there's an entire chapter. Most of the conflict that is in the story mode stems from this one miscommunication. And one of the characters, he gets so close to like just talking about it, and he was like, "No, this happened," and then he gets like punched something. I'm like, "Can you finish your sentence? Can you finish your sentence?" It takes one sentence, and at the end of the scene, the other character is like, "This has to be a miscommunication. So why didn't you fucking talk to him?"
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have turned it off. I would like, file be damned.
They're all talking to each other while they're fighting. Just say it.
That's just crazy to me. I can't imagine playing a game for hours and then it all stems from one miscommunication. I think I would actually write whoever wrote Mortal Kombat a strongly worded letter and say, now go back and change this. So I like the fact that they didn't have a miscommunication arc in the movie. Going back to the movie, I like the fact that they're bold enough about the things that they want to talk about. Like I said, she does not mince with communication. She's sometimes willing, not sometimes, but she's willing to say I'm sorry, willing to go to the person first and stuff like that. But more than that, it's like it was a breath of fresh air to watch these two characters finally get their conversation, their long overdue conversation that they needed to have with each other. Yes. I mean, granted, they're still divorced. And Amber is still in love with Logan. Now she loved her husband, and I'm pretty sure it's the love is going to transform into something else, because I don't think love ever really goes away; it just transforms into something else. Yeah. But at the end of the day, she loves Logan a lot. So I don't know. Was this after or before that dreaded scene that happened?
It's before.
Okay.
Also, right. So I also want to say there are, I think, one or two X scenes with an S in front of it. And they're so long. Yeah. They're so long.
Bro, I was watching this and I was just like, this is dragging on for 20 minutes.
Okay, listen. I am a homosexual.
I'm exaggerating. It's not actually 20 minutes, by the way. But it felt like it was.
Yeah. And I'm a homosexual. You have to understand. What I'm watching isn't nice for me to watch. I don't like watching it. I don't like seeing it. So 5 minutes in, I kid you not, I'm not even exaggerating. When I say 5 minutes, I skip the rest. After 5 minutes, like I can't take it. I can't take it after 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it lasted so long.
I feel like an X scene should last no more than maybe a minute or two. I just feel like dragging out for longer than that kind of bores me. I'm like, I get bored. All right, girl.
Yeah, I had to skip that. It just lasts way too long. And I was like, please never do that again. Please never do that again. And I feel like the movie, because the movie is slow, right? I feel like the movie, feel like, okay, we're making a slow movie. We can take our time with this scene. No, babes, please.
Mind you, this movie is only an hour.
Like a good, I feel like it was like at least 10 minutes, right? It was a
Yeah,
long time,
it was a long time.
long time. I feel like you have a minute to, 'cause a minute feels long to see that.
Yeah, it was like because to me, I didn't mind it. I just watched it and I was like, oh, I like the intimacy that they displayed and stuff like that. It
Yes,
was
I
very
like that you can see it, but please
yeah.
chop it down to a little bit shorter. Uh, that aside, there's a conversation that Amber's parents have just one on one together
Hmm.
about Amber. And the father was like, she's still your daughter. I don't think this is a phase. We don't know if she's always felt like this or this is new, but you have to love her either way. And then the mother is like, no, it's not. It's not. She said it's not right. It's not what we do. Something like
Said
that.
it's gonna ruin her reputation or some
Yeah.
BS.
And then she like walks off. And then I was like, ma'am, she's still your daughter. Come
But at the end of the day, it's like this is who she is. And I like when Amber, because prior to that, Amber and her were talking. That was the conversation we were talking about before. And she said, "Well, if you don't accept me, you're going to lose Emily, and you're going to
on.
lose me." Yeah, and then that's when she walked away, and that's when the husband was
Oh,
sat
yeah,
down.
you're right.
Yeah, so I just feel like I'm glad that Amber was standing firm in it and saying, "You're going to lose both of us if you don't get it together." Basically, she was
Yeah.
like together.
And also, when Amber came out to Seoul, I laughed because they were at like the trust exercise for the company, and Seoul was like, tell me, you're keeping things from me, da da da." And then Amber was like, Logan." And Seoul's like, "Yeah, I know Logan. I'm fucking her." And then she falls over, and I was like, "Girl, there had to have been a better way to say that. There had to have been a better way to say that because what do you mean?"
Bro, she passes out. I was like,
It was a trust fall.
I know.
Uh,
She passed out, bro. I'm like, hey, yo. She was like, you were supposed to catch.
And then no, but my thing was, why did she phrase it like that?
I, I think
That was funny. I was like, why did you phrase it like that?
it was funny. I think it was one of those things though where you're just like you don't know how to say I'm with this person. Kind of, you just kind of like say whatever comes to your mind. Like
I
there's been one many times where people have said like done the thing that the first thing that came in mind, ask a question that gives them off guard, or they're thinking about it and they just don't know how to say it, so they just blurt something out. So I think that was
yeah,
hers. She blurt
that was
whatever.
funny though. I laughed. I was like, I think that was funny.
And then I like that they went back into the office. She gave her ice pack, and they started having a heart to heart. And Soul told her story about her being in love with a white man. Because Soul is black, by the way. Yes, Soul is a black woman, and she was telling her about her story of back then when she was. So they're not the same age because she was like. It sounded like she was during Jim Crow era. Anyway, back.
I'm thinking she's in her 50s because then Amber is like, you're really not that old, and 50's not that old. So I'm guessing mid 50s.
Yeah. So Soul tells her story about how she was in love with a white man and how they could not like be together basically because of how people was going to look at them. But then she tells her that Soul tells her that it's one of the things that she regrets. In fact, I wrote down the quote and she said living with regret is only my doing, basically. Like she
Yeah,
regrets not being with him. She regrets not taking their love as a chance. She genuinely loved that man, but because of what society and what people were saying, she decided not to be with him. I mean, she ended up having kids. She ended up getting married. She ended up doing all the things, and I'm pretty sure she loves her current husband. She loves her current
she
relationship.
does.
That, but it's probably one of those things that always stuck out in the back of her mind of not a almost like a what if, like what if I did take that chance? What if I
Mhm.
did the things that I was afraid to do, or I felt like I just could not do because of what other people were saying that I could not do. And it was basically a way to give, I guess, Amber the courage to really step into her relationship with Logan and really take not control, but take it like kind of by the reins and just go for it, you know?
And then I remember when they first get to the office, they're talking. And Amber is like, I'm just so scared, like with what people are gonna think, da da da. And then Soul was like, black, white, straight, gay. We're in New York, okay? I feel like New York is one
All
of the cities. New York, L.A., San Francisco. These are like the Chicago even. These are the cities where like feel like you're the safest you can get in this country as a gay person.
No, for real. Anywhere where a bunch of people congregate, I should say. Because in cities you see all types of walks of life. It's community, because in cities you have a bunch of community. You will find your people in a city. In a lot of cities. I shouldn't say all cities, because not all cities built the same, girl. But in specifically the cities that Mars mentioned, you will find pretty much your people.
Then the heartbreaking scene that I didn't cry, but I felt like I could cry on a bad day.
You know,
I was blindsided.
I was not. I was like, this is going to do one of the. It was either going to do one of two tropes, because this is what anime. This is what this does. I'm so anime brained. Leave me alone. Okay, the worst trope that they do is miscommunication. Terrible trope, horrible. The second trope that they do is a breakup scene, and I was like, either one or two is going to happen. And I predicted. I was like, well, since they didn't do really a miscommunication trope, it doesn't look like it's within their characters to do one. This seems like it's going to be like a breakup scene.
Yeah.
And then it was.
I was blindsided. Okay, so when I watch movies, I try because I try not to watch it from like a film slash analytical standpoint because it will completely ruin the film for me. So I don't do
Yeah.
that because it ruins watching films.
Yeah.
So, but when the rigor scene started happening, I was like, okay, well, like we're entering like I think we're entering the third act around here. So something has to happen. Something big has to disrupt something. And I was like, makes sense. But I'm happy I didn't think like that before it happened because then I would have seen it coming and that would ruin it for me. Because
Yeah.
when I tell you when they broke up, they were walking and I think she was like, we need to talk or something, and they stopped. I was like, babes, but you better not. I was so angry. And then Amber was like, I love you, I want you, like come on, like what's wrong? And then Logan was like, I feel like you can't love me until like you da, da, da. But she's like, you know, we need we need space, basically, we need to break up. And oh my god, Amber was heartbroken, like so bad. And then Logan was like, can I at least walk you home? And Amber was like, no, just go.
But I'll be honest with you, I thought that scene was so funny. I'm like, yeah, because she's all heartbroken, and Logan's still trying to beat her. Oh, bro, I was like, I thought it was so awkwardly funny. I was like, girl, what are you still standing there for? Like, you broke up with her. Like, go.
You controlled when you did it. You could have done that at the end of the night when you walked her home.
You know, and you could have just said goodbye at her door. Nah, y'all said goodbye in front of a ring-a-dink building. Like, girl, what?
Now she gotta walk home by herself.
You know, like, anyway. It's so awkwardly funny because she was still trying to be like at least be a good person and just walk her home, and you know that's not what Amber wanted. So
honestly, I wouldn't want that either. You broke up with me. I don't want to be near you right now.
bro, you broke up with me. Like I thought we were doing good. I thought we could work things out, and then you just broke up with me. And it's like, and I don't disagree with why Logan broke up with her. I just don't agree that it happened, and that's my piece. That is my truth. I just feel like you didn't have to do that. Like
other ways. There were other
ways. You could have I don't know, anything but that. But then they broke up.
I feel like you could be like, we should take some space, but let's stay together. Let's just take some time apart. Like I feel like people are like, oh, why do that? Just break up. But there are cases or scenarios where I feel like that makes sense.
Logan was going on for 2 years.
That's true, but you know we also have FaceTime,
and that's what I was gonna say too. I think this takes place with iPhones because I saw the phone. It took place with an old phone though. But I was like, girl, you have FaceTime, you got Skype.
Let's make it work. Like y'all can make it work. People make long distance work all the time.
I don't know how long it passes after their breakup and like everything happens within Amber's life and life is moving on and she's trying to move on from Logan.
Yeah, I know Ethan leaves and they have a heartfelt scene where they're all Ethan and Amber are crying and they have a group hug with them and Emily. That was really cute.
Yeah,
I thought it was cute because like it was Emily and Amber and they were hugging and crying, and then Ethan starts crying and he's off on the side, and then Amber pulls him into the hug as well. That was so cute. I like that.
That was really cute too.
It shows that she still cares. They still care about each other.
They do still care about it. We cannot stress this enough. They care about each other, guys. Like they do.
Or like they hate each other. They still care about each other. I feel like it's the kind of a divorce where like you can still kind of be friends with this person after like a year because like they still care about each other so much.
I'm not sure. Anyway, I have like this accessory in the back of my head, and I'm just feeling it being on top of my head. I'm sorry, but yeah.
And then Amber, I think she's in like a Uber or something, and Logan starts she hears the tour and she's in Toronto, and
It's like a
she
radio
hears
interview.
she hears the inspiration behind behind the song, and she was like, it was basically written preemptively for her. She's like, oh, and then her and Soul are talking, and then Soul was like, go get her, go
Go
get her.
get her out.
Yeah, I loved their conversation because Amber was like, well, how do I know it's for me? I could be wrong. And then Soul was like, when you're old and you're looking back on life, can you live with the thought that something could have been? Could you live with that? Would you be okay with knowing that you did not explore that? Like whenever I'm faced with a decision, I'm like, when I'm old, deathbed, and I look back on my life, will I be happy or will I regret something? And I don't want to live with regrets, right? So it's like if I'm gonna regret not doing something, I'm just gonna do it. Because sure, it can end poorly, but if we don't try, it's not gonna end at all. It's just not. It's not gonna go anywhere. So you might as well try and see where it goes.
Yeah, take
And then
that chance.
she flies out to Toronto. And you know what was funny? When she flew out, I was the whole time I was thinking about how if I was in Amber's shoes and I got back together with Logan, the first thing I would say is it cost me $400 to fix this relationship, by the way. Just letting you know. But
I immediately break up with you right then and there. If someone said that to me, I'd be like, well, I mean, it wouldn't be $400 if you was just, I don't know, honest. Like,
I'd be like, fair, but I still spent $400. That's all I can think about. It's literally when the entire like sequence when she's like going on the plane and stuff. I'm like, it cost her $400 at least to go up there. It cost her like $400. Like,
you know. But yeah, they fly out. She sees Logan's last show. Not last show, but she sees him in the middle of her tour. And
yeah.
they get together. And
After
that,
the closing, they're in the empty bar and they talk. And I remember when the last shot when they're like holding each other's hands and it's both of them. I remember thinking, I was like, you better not end it here. You better not end it here. I want one more scene. I need one more scene. And then the credits start rolling. I was like, come on, one more scene. I want one more scene.
isn't going to end there either. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it was gonna be like a little bit more, but then because it looked like it was supposed to be a little bit more, but then it was like it wasn't. I was just like, oh, well, I'm happy at how it ended. I'm just sad that it ended. It was
I'm until like 4 months later after the tour. It's
you
the three
know
of them.
a little epilogue.
Right. Even like 3 minutes, like just like a quick scene with Amber, Logan, and Emily all in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Logan moved in, and she's helping out with Emily, and maybe they're making like breakfast or something, and it's just cute. And then it ends. That would feel. Oh, that would warm my heart. And I was so mad when it ended. I was like, one more scene.
I think one more scene would have done it for me too.
Yeah.
But I
But I
felt all the
will
feels
say,
in this
I
movie.
watched the movie at like I ended it at like 3 in the morning, and which isn't abnormal for me, but I really liked it. I remember I put in my review, I was like, this is the first time in a while that I could relate to a character. Surprisingly, I don't watch much. There isn't an excessive amount of like queer romance, surprisingly. It feels so weird to have this realization as old as I am now because I feel like I should have had it as soon as I started watching movies. But in this movie made me realize how important it is to have different characters like queer, straight, gay, whatever characters that different people can relate to. Because when I watch straight romance, I cannot relate to it. I can relate to the surface level of like liking someone, but I can't relate to anything deeper than that. I can't see a reflection of myself in that character. But in
That's
Amber, I saw a reflection of myself. Even though it's a lesbian relationship, the same fundamental values of the same obstacles that we face are there. So it was enough where I could see myself. I could see myself in Amber. I could see how her parents reacted. And for the first time in a long time, I can't even tell you the last time I felt like this. I could see myself in a character, and it changed the viewing experience for me. It made it so much better. I think I gave it the equivalent of 8 out of 10. Yeah, 8 out of 10 stars. It was really good.
I'd give it an 8. I am not of the L and the G or the B or the T. But yeah, I related to this film in a sense like I love romance, okay? I am a romance junkie. Two polarizing genres that I like. Romance and horror. Okay. You could combine romance and horror. You cannot, but for some people you cannot. But I love romance and horror. And I felt all the feels when watching this movie. And that was like it was the first time in a while that a romance movie actually made me feel something towards their characters. And it was just such an enjoyable watch. It was such a joy to watch them. It wasn't a joy to watch them obviously go through the hardships that they were going through, but it still felt like, dang, like it still hit you somewhere. If you have a heart,
Yeah,
it still hits you
it
somewhere.
really got
And it
me
was like,
feel something for the character. And I loved it.
yeah, it was like I feel the love through the screen. Like it's like it's clearly like this is something that I would actually put on and watch over and over in terms of like on Valentine's Day. This is going up. I'm watching this one, Me Before You. This is a rewatchable movie. Like hands down a
Yes.
rewatchable movie. I would watch it again and again. And it was because it's not only because of the romance, but they devoided it of those tropes that I freaking hate in romance. It really, really helped drive this movie to be a really good romance, in my opinion, in terms of their and I really, really love the intimacy between the two characters. Like they did have a lot of chemistry together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think like I'm really glad that the movie actually made you feel seen because I know that it's like like we were like we were trying to find queer movies. So I see that there is barely any. Even though people may say, "Oh, it feels like there's a lot." Like people may say that it feels like there's a lot. I'm like, "Not really.
Not
It's
really. When
really
you
not
compare
really."
the volume of like
Yeah,
straight romance to any queer romance, there's so much. It's so easy to find straight romance. To find a queer romance, you have to put some kind of work in.
exactly. You have to like elbow grease. God dang it. Like what the
Yeah.
heck? And so like there may be like queer people in straight romances and there
Yes.
are queer people in straight things, but there's as a queer by itself movie, I could probably name a couple on one hand.
Yes. And
And
the
that's
key
like
factor is also like I want movies that I can watch for free because babes, I don't have money. Like I want stuff on Prime Video, I want stuff on Tubi, I want stuff on the free platforms. I don't mind watching a couple ads. It's free.
it's free.
Yeah, so that was it. But I remember when the movie ended, despite wanting that extra scene, I felt really good. I remember I
Mhm.
texted my friend at like 4 in the morning. I was going to bed. I was like, I just finished watching it. Phenomenal. I like movie. I don't when I recommend a movie, it has to be good because I have a reputation to keep. Okay, and you know how it feels to feel betrayed by a movie or by a show or by an
Yeah.
anime. I think you know what
Mhm.
I'm talking about. Because it tricks me. The only bad recommendation I've ever given my entire life was that stupid anime.
I know what you're talking about because but you didn't see the second season. Like, everyone who knows anime knows what I'm talking about. I don't even have to say the name, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna all you need to do is all you need to know is that that first season was phenomenal. That second
And
season
it
does not
tricked
make me
me.
want to go back.
I recommended it to so many people.
You did. You did. You did.
Because
But it's
when
okay.
it ended, it was
It's
so
okay.
good. When it ended the first season, it was so good.
It was phenomenal. I was like, this is anime. This is peak. And then it was.
Exactly. No, but it's not worthy of a Mars recommendation. For my editors, can you like put like a Mars like stamp of approval on the screen? That's me. I gotta do that myself, but that's a note for my future self. When I say that, put like a Mars a stamp of approval. Mars recommended because this is the Mars recommendation. I'm gonna start a list on Letterboxd of Mars recommendations because
Oh, that's
it'll be
you.
small, but they're but yeah, this was definitely something I would recommend. Like I said, 8 out of 10 stars. It was really good. What are your closing thoughts on Walk with Me?
My closing thoughts is that it was a very, very good romance movie. It did everything that it subverted my expectations a lot because again, I'm a romance junkie and I know how romances go. So the fact that they didn't do the things that I thought they was going to do, I was like, I am pleasantly surprised and I am pleasantly intrigued. Tell me more. I really loved the relationship between Logan and Amber. I really loved the relationship between Logan, Amber, and Emily.
Mhm.
I loved everything about it. I did. My closing statement is if you have Tubi, which everyone should have because it's free, go on there, look up Walk with Me and watch it. If you like romance. If you don't like romance, don't go messing with romance. Just like I would tell people who don't like horror, don't go messing with horror. Don't go mess with romance if you don't like romance. But if you like romance, like a little bit of drama too. A little bit of drama. Go watch that.
Yes. My closing thoughts would be very, very same thing. Like, again, I don't recommend movies lightly. This is something I recommend people to watch. I remember I put in my recommendation, it's like, if you're a fan of like queer media, it shouldn't even matter, but I know how people are.
Yeah,
It
that
really
shouldn't
doesn't matter.
even people are
Yeah. So, if you're not a fan, first of all, what are you doing here? But
First of all, get off our platform. Hold on. Like, no, back up. Go away.
I would rather have 0 viewers than 1 viewer who's a bigot. So, actually, factually. But,
Then
exactly. I'm not a sellout. But I love this movie. I had a very warm feeling in my heart when it ended, and it's something that I would recommend people to watch. And I really liked it. You said it perfectly. It's a breath of fresh air. It really does feel like a breath of fresh air for the genre because
mhm.
it just does things in a unique way. It doesn't try to appeal to all these different like tropes and such. It wants to do its own thing, and it did it well, and I loved the way it did it. And I feel like it was a great start for our Pride Month specials. I feel like it was great
Yeah.
because I remember when I finished watching it, even while I was watching it, I was like, I can't wait to get on here. I can't wait to get on here and talk about it. I just want to talk about it. I just want to talk about it. I remember because I really did. I kept pausing to like add my commentary. Like it made me actually like want to go like just like live stream watch this so that I could like add commentary because that's how much I loved this movie. Was it perfect? No, but it was sweet. It was beautiful. I liked it. I enjoyed it so well. It was written really well too. I liked it
Cried
a
a little
lot.
bit. Not gonna lie, at the end, cried a little bit.
Right? I didn't cry, but I feel like I would have cried if I was having a bad day. I would have cried if I was prone to crying that day. I would have definitely. But yeah, that is our thoughts and opinions on 2020/2021. Okay, it says 2020 on I think IMDb or whatever on Wikipedia, and then on Letterboxd is it 2021. So I don't know what year to say. I saw 2 different years, but
They do the same thing with Obsession because Obsession actually came out 2025, but it was
yeah,
in theaters 2026.
it had
So
theatrical release, but it released in a film festival, I believe, like the so 2020 to 2021's Walk With Me. That's our thoughts and opinions.
no, what we can do is we can have an end of the year tier list episode,
We can, and I'll
and
keep an
then
updated
we
tier
do
list.
all the movies that we talked about, and then we put it. That's a good idea. We write that down. Someone write this down. Like
Okay, so I'm gonna write this down. So the tier
someone
list.
write this down. Assistant, write this down.
Right. Okay. So we'll do that because I do still have the tier list, and I'll add it in after when I'm editing. I'll listen to the audio through and I'll put it in. But where do you think they should go? For context, we have Absolute Cinema, I believe. Right after under that is Almost Masterpiece. Not Good,
Mm-hmm.
Not Bad is right smack dab in the middle. Second to last is Watchable, and at the bottom of the barrel is The Worst Thing I Ever Saw for movies that should have never been made. Where do you think this one belongs?
What's under God tier again?
Almost Masterpiece.
And then what's under that one?
Not Good, Not Bad.
I would say almost master.
Yeah. If they gave me that epilogue scene, I would put it in Masterpiece. I would put it in God tier. If they gave me that, I would have cried. Fully would have cried. Like a short epilogue where it just talks. You just show them living as a family. I would have cried. I would have cried. So I would put it in Almost Masterpiece. I also agree. I'll put it in my notes. I make the tier list.
What did we give this one? It was an 8 out of 10.
Yes, 8 out of 10.
Okay. Are we gonna do the end of the year tier list or just this?
We can do that. We can do the end of the year tier list. I'll start keeping. Well, I have it on my.
I was gonna say we could do like a reflection thing at the end of the year and talk about all the
Yeah,
movies that we talked about, like just a flash thing. Like, how do you feel about this movie now that you've given it some time to sit and stuff like
yeah. I
that?
feel like we should each have like, our top 5 movies that we bring with us, and we like talk about them, what we enjoyed, and then I have because I have Letterboxd. I rank every movie I see, so I have the
Mhm.
ranking I gave it, so I can see if it's subject to change, and maybe because we'll have point of reference for each tier because we'll have things in each tier like oh, okay maybe this belongs in a different tier.
Yeah, yeah.
So we should do that. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. We should do that towards the end of the year. We should also do something for Christmas because we haven't done
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
want to put a spin on it though. That's foreshadowing. That's what we call foreshadowing. And
Yay!
yeah, so this one belongs in Almost Masterpiece. Future Self. Do not forget to put that in. And now, if you have made it this far into the video, I want to thank you so much for coming and clicking on the video and somehow listening to us for what's like over an hour. We appreciate you. We love you. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, maybe
Mhm.
even subscribe if you really like our vibe. If you want to add something to what we said, or if you disagree with something we said, put it in the comments. I read everything because there's usually nothing there. And yeah, remember to eat your dinner, get your sleep, and we'll see you next time. Bye!